other NGOs' pressure, in 2005 she was released into the United States. She is not a criminal, as the Chinese calls. She never violated any Chinese laws.
They've accused her, I mean, during these recent disturbances, of fomenting the unrest which led to the rioting in Xinjiang, which led to many hundreds of people being killed.
It is not only false, but it's a clumsy accusation. Here we have this dedicated Uyghur leader who has been calling for a dialogue, a peaceful resolution of the Uyghur issues. But the Chinese government did not take up her offer. And most interestingly, that the Chinese government monitor all in and out phone calls and internet messages. And yet they claim that Ms. Kadir instigated the event. And it makes you to wonder, how come they did not know? How come they did not find out through those phone calls or email messaging that she was instigating something? Chinese government is blaming her for a number of reasons. Number one reason is to mistakenly believe that by attacking her or vilifying her, they can destroy her image. Actually backfired. Chinese government effectively gave the Uyghurs a leader. The Uyghurs have a leader now.
Let's talk a little bit about the situation of the Uyghurs in Guantanamo Bay. Can you give us some updates on that situation? How many people are still being held?
The initially U.S. government picked up 22 Uyghurs from various places. Most of them are from Pakistan. Initially, they were sold to the U.S. military for a bounty of $5,000 per person. Soon after they being brought into Guantanamo, Bush administration realized that they have the wrong people. Even some officials openly stated that these Uyghurs happened to be the wrong place at the wrong time. But
well, what were they doing in the area? What were they doing in Pakistan?
These are political dissidents initially. Some of them, even interestingly enough, participated in 1997 Ili incident, which is very similar to what we have witnessed in Urumqi, but it's much smaller scale. After their participation, they were locked up, tortured in prison, and they escaped and managed to get out of China and try to live in Central Asian Turkic states. Because of the Chinese pressure, because of this organization called Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the Uyghurs who wanted to live peacefully doing business or marrying local Uyghur women were not allowed because of this Shanghai Cooperation Organization program that pressures Uyghur activists or Uyghur residents. So they could not extend their visas. They could not renew their passports. So only one place that they found that could be a temporary shelter or sanctuary for them is the Taliban-controlled Afghanistan. Of course, weapons are ubiquitous in Afghanistan in late 1990s and early 2000s. We cannot simply compare Taliban-controlled Afghanistan with Switzerland when it comes to weapons and all that, because the weapons are everywhere.
But were they training in the camps?
That's what the government claimed, but there's no shred of evidence that they received what's called military training. Occasional assembling and assembling of AK-47, if that counts, in military training, half of the U.S. population can be a terrorist, because, you know, I personally find out at least 10, 15 gun training facilities around Washington, D.C. People can go freely, get all types of weapons training. But in because that happened in Afghanistan, because they happened to be Uyghur, because they happened to be escaping from China, it was much easier for them to be described or lumped together with the other group of people went to Afghanistan for different type of purposes. Of course, it is a fact that some of the Uyghurs who were imprisoned in Guantanamo told the military judge or interrogators that they were there in Afghanistan, escaping Chinese persecution, but after they arrived, they saw some weapons. As a person, as a guy, they were curious and tried to learn how to use AK-47. And also some of them acknowledged that, you know, I thought that this would help just in case if I have to fight against the Chinese. And that kind of statement made the Pentagon and Bush administration to make their claim that these guys received military training.
So what's going to happen to them? Are they going to be reunited with their families?
It's very difficult. You know, oftentimes when we talk about Guantanamo Uyghur matters, people heavily focus on criticizing Bush administration or the U.S. government. The problem is partly because of Bush administration. It's not. The problem is, of course, the problem is the Bush administration that it was not able to release the guys and find them a third country settlement. The main problem is the Chinese government. Bush administration apparently reached out to 100 countries, asked for their help. They rejected the request out of concern that there will be diplomatic and economic repercussions because of China.
Can the United States help?
The United States can do a number of things. The United States, number one, should openly support the Uyghurs' legitimate freedom movement. And number two, the United States uses diplomatic and economic leverage or relations with the Communist China to encourage the Chinese to relax its policies. Number three, they should eventually establish channels for the Uyghur leadership to talk to the Chinese.
Okay, Nury Turkel, thank you very much for coming on Foreign Exchange.
Thank you very much for hosting me.